let me pivot this direction and ask you a different question then. Is Derek Shelton walking into the same situation in Minnesota in 2026 that he walked into in Pittsburgh? To put that differently, is he a placeholder, right? Is Derek Shelton simply stewarding a franchise lacking in talent at the big league level currently until enough of their prospects in the mid to upper minors are ready, only to be replaced by someone fresh, outside perspective, etc.? Like, is he? It's hard to, other than the pre-existing relationships that you alluded to, the ties, the roots in the organization, it's hard to see, other than the fact that, of course, we know like these jobs there's only 30 of them. Tons of people would kill for the opportunity. It's hard to see him looking at the situation and saying, yeah, like we're going to compete. We're ready to win here. Like we're knocking on the door of the playoffs next year. That doesn't feel like the place the org is at. And there's a lot of time between now and spring for that to change potentially. But does it feel like Shelton's walking into a similar lame duckish type situation that Rocco found himself in at the beginning of this year?
Yes, but also, don't most hires feel like that? Like throughout all the sports, your shelf life is going to be not very long if you don't win. And in the event that you do win, you buy yourself extra years. Like I would say, like Pat Murphy getting hired by the Brewers. That felt like, okay, Council leaves, the Brewers kind of rebuild or start the rebuild. That's almost like a lame duck situation. And then he wins, and now it's like, oh, okay. And I feel like that's kind of the case with every program, with every you're walking into a situation, unless you're a legend replacing someone that retires at the top of their game. Even then, right? It feels like that. And so that to me is where it's like, if he comes in and turn this thing around, which you see in baseball quite often, he's gonna get, you're gonna be like, man, he was great until he loses in 2 years and then he gets fired anyway. Right? That's how managing and coaching works. Like look at the NBA. Like the guy that, I don't know if it was coach of the year or the finals, whatever it was, like they all got fired within 3 years of that happening, because it's the roller coaster. You can't fire the whole team. The Twins tried it at the deadline. You can fire the manager, and that's what happens. The Bucks win the title. Bud gets fired 2 years later. Like that's just how coaching in professional sports works. And in college sports now too, you see it all the time. And so I would say simply, yeah, it's just like he walked into in Pittsburgh. He got his 4.5 years or whatever it was. It didn't go great. Boom, he's fired. Rocco got his handful of years. It didn't go great. Boom, he's fired. Look around the league. That's just kind of the case. And I think the Twins probably have more patience than most organizations.
For sure.
And that's why you look at that and say, well, why would he take the job if they're not going to spend money and they're not going to be competitive? Well, because he's going to get probably 1.5 years longer with the Twins than he would get with any other franchise. So I do think that, yeah, it's kind of that situation. But how many great baseball openings were there this year?
I would argue that most openings were more appealing than the Twins opening.
Okay.
With the exception of the Rockies, I would say the Rockies are worse. I would say the Orioles is more appealing in terms of caliber of talent available to you. I would say the Nationals is more appealing, not necessarily because of caliber of talent available to you, but resources that are going to be put behind that team are significantly more than the Twins. So that excites me a lot. Padres is more appealing than the Twins by far, looking at the Major League roster. You're shedding dead weight Luis Ariz this year, so that's good. I'm struggling to remember the rest of the vacancies. But
But now, the Angels.
okay,
But
well,
I think
that's never more appealing than anything.
But I think the thing is, when you say all those and then you tell me why they're more appealing, what you're also saying is there's going to be less patience to not win, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of that, like in the grand scheme of all of it, makes those jobs less appealing, right? In any walk of life where it's like this, if I take a job knowing that I got 1 year to turn it around or I'm gone, I might be like, you know what? Why don't I go to the place where I can get 3 years to turn it around, and really kind of get my stuff going? Because by the time I get in and start doing things, the first year's over.